Hello, and welcome to Daredevil Born Again official podcast. I'm Michael Gandolfini, and I'm back portraying Daniel Blake, and we might need therapy after that. I mean, not me, because I'm dead. Every week, we're digging into each episode of Season 2, sharing behind-the-scenes moments, chatting with the cast and crew of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again, now streaming on Disney+. On today's show, we're going to be discussing all those major character-defining moments in Episode 7 as we get ready for next week's big season finale. I'm excited to be joined in conversation with the governor of New York, Lili Taylor. And later this episode, we'll hear from Arty Froushan, who of course plays Buck Cashman. But first, here's a recap of all the jaw-dropping moments in Episode 7. So if you haven't watched it, stop and, go watch that and then come back. Karen's trial begins and Matt Murdock reveals himself to the public for the first time since going missing. Definitely a crazy moment for New York. And then Buck Cashman kills Daniel Blake. End of episode. But you want more? Listen, there's a lot going on, all right? Karen and Daredevil realize they can't break her out of jail, so Daredevil releases Bullseye. Matt's attacked by a car full of AVTF heavies while leaving the courthouse. A masked assailant tries to kill the governor, but Bullseye stops him. Karen and Heather Glenn have this sort of awesome, intense face-off during a psych eval. And throughout the episode, Daniel Blake is wrestling with what the hell he's gonna do with BB. He loves her, but she's gotten them into a world of trouble. His demons seem to be getting the better of him when he escorts her directly to Buck Cashman to her certain death. But at the last minute, he has a change of heart and sacrifices himself instead. And the episode ends with Buck Cashman killing Daniel Blake. At which point, we're forced to say farewell to the beloved, yes, the beloved, Daniel Blake. Here we are. It's so crazy doing these things where you have to look back at we wrapped how long ago? So 6 months, 7 months? Mm-hmm. It's so crazy.
I know it. I know.
We both have, kind of these highly dramatic, violent moments in this episode, and
yeah, mine's very different. I remember everyone was talking about the fight scene, and you guys rehearsed and choreographed it for a
we
day
did
or two.
2 days, yeah.
2 days, and then they were everyone was talking about it. It was amazing. And then you were really sore or beaten up the day after.
Yeah.
Were you
well, what happened was, Arty, because I was let's choke me really, and
oh no,
go. Not that he didn't actually choke me, but what happened was he would put his arm here, right, and I would push the arm into me. But I was he was kind of holding me up, so I had kind of bruised the top of my neck a little bit. But
it's
it was
we gotta do what we gotta do.
Yeah, exactly. And it was great.
It worked.
And
it worked.
It was so fun, getting to do it with Arty, and we just became such good friends. And so to kind of have this amazing moment with him.
Oh my God!
And,
so
yeah.
Could you imagine you and your characters going to where you went from the very beginning? Was that always there, that possibility that you could kill each other?
That's so interesting. I don't think I ever thought that, or Daniel ever thought that. Sort of the whole thing about Daniel that was really, especially season 1, is that he's so unaware of the snakes in the grass, right? He's so excited to be there, and he believes all of them. So in many ways, Buck is, a little bit like an older brother, and kind of a friend. And even throughout season 2, he finds Buck not scary. He pries him about his SAS work. He makes jokes with him, and it's not until he really starts to get threatened by him that he feels scared. But I almost think that he never really fully believes Buck will ever kill him.
Really?
I don't think so.
Because what's interesting about that political world is it's almost to me, it feels like the reality is whatever one needs to do to stay alive.
Right.
That's just the agreement.
Right.
And if it comes to a point where I'm going to have to walk over you, I will have to walk over you.
It's just so interesting that like that's the political world, but it's also the crime world, right? There's so many like kind of similarities. Like the governor and Fisk, it's like opposite poles of good and evil, right? Light and dark, but both hold a lot of power.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like that was the thing that I just found so captivating, is that you hold the same sort of gravitas that like Fisk has, but it's marked in a way of like hope, and we need to get things back on track.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Like norms, rules, laws, the right thing, a morality,
Right.
and ethics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think, do you think the fact that the governor's moral code is so aligned, did that give you power? Like, did you feel stronger because you were like, I know her moral code is...
Definitely, even though I was dealing with a fascist.
Yeah.
I mean, and because the reality is when you're dealing with a fascist, you just only have there's just certain options that aren't available.
Right.
Period. Because they're going to be playing by different rules. I recently received a copy of the Charter of 1855. The Freeport status is perpetual and inviolable. It can only be revoked by the order of the governor.
Well, I sincerely hope, for New York's sake, that you're not considering such a thing.
And I knew that there was very little I could do. There was very little within my power, law-wise, and knowing what I was up against, and knowing that I may not be able to stop this man.
Right.
So it's gonna fall on the next generation.
I think it's hard sometimes to have hope, especially my generation. But
Are you Z or millennial?
I have no idea.
How old are you?
I'm 99.
You're 99?
So what is
No,
that?
no, I mean, how old?
Oh, I'm 20. No, I'm 99 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I look great.
Wow.
I moisturize so much. So yeah, we both have these kind of violent moments in the show, and just more on like a filming question. Like, so did you rehearse that like beforehand? Did you have a stunt rehearsal?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love I love doing my own stunts if I
Right.
can. And this one was easy. I mean,
Right.
it's all it is,
Right.
surprise and this but but then the actor adds those little things in, like using
Yeah.
the table as a way to
Right, that was great. I thought like the flailing with your feet and like the desk, it really it was amazing.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
Do you think the governor ever thought that she was in danger like that?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh, definitely. I think because because Fisk has no ethics. He has no morality.
Right.
And she knew. I just thought maybe my security was a little better.
Right. That would make sense.
So I was a little surprised that there was a lapse there.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I did not realize that your character died. I really was shocked.
I never ever leaned into the fact that I was gonna die. Like, cause I didn't think I was gonna die.
Well, we wouldn't.
We wouldn't, but like having no knowledge of it, it just was
it makes your
perfect.
job a lot easier.
It made it so much easier.
You don't have to use the acting muscle in the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah, you were just, totally there.
And it's such an exciting thing for, Buck too, and Arty. Like, it takes Buck to a new level.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It ends with this amazing reflection of Buck looking at Daniel, but even though he's killed him, there's like a little bit of love in it, and like a little bit, it's just a very...
The tension. There's so much tension.
Yeah. It just kind of lend itself to the show telling us what was
That's
right.
right. And you respected it. And it was like...
Yeah.
And really, it was right. I mean,
Yeah.
it felt like... Yeah, it made sense.
Totally was right.
Yeah.
And it made things like so much more brutal too. Like, I have those scenes with my mom and like in the show.
Yeah.
And so like you just think about his mom being just like, left to find out he died, and where's BB gonna go? Like
Yeah, you
all
have all
that
those
stuff.
thoughts,
Like,
yeah.
like the fact that like, because the show is so tight and the writing is so tight and there's so many tied loose ends, Daniel having all these loose ends was sort of so much more moving. Like there was so much unfinished business, which is how, if someone dies really early or gets killed or any of this. That's how his life is. There's
Yeah.
a million loose ends.
That's right.
And so there's just so many questions, and the only answer is like he's gone.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
That's right.
And I just found that so moving. And it makes it so much more
Yeah.
painful. You're just like, whoa, like he's never going to see Buck again.
That's right.
He's never going to see, he'll never talk to Sheila again.
That's right.
He'll never. And you think about like, what were the last scenes he ever had with people? And like, sometimes like his last scene with Fisk is at the funeral,
Yeah.
like it's just this really kind of brutal.
Wow, that little rewind button.
Honest.
Yeah, you
like,
you had to kind of think about, like what your last moments were.
Yeah, and it's funny because as an actor, like, when you die, like it feels like a little bit of like a death because you're like, okay, like I won't be working with these people anymore.
Right.
So like you do start to go like, wow, what was the last time I
know.
taught?
That's
yeah.
right. What a wild experience.
Like, oh wow, if I wish you go like I wish I knew that was my last time talking to them. You literally do. Like it's like life. Like you just go, wow, I wish I would have known that was it.
Oh my God, I love it. It's
yeah.
such a trip.
Yeah. This is Truth or Daredevil. I'm a pro
Yeah.
at this game. I've done it 10 times. Okay, so Truth or Daredevil?
Daredevil.
Okay, amazing. Let's see what we got in here, huh? It's a little trivia question. Most likely to prank another cast member?
Vince.
No.
Okay, you.
That's what it says. That's what it says. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Truth or Daredevil?
I'll do Truth.
Oh, why
Change it
not?
up.
You're so
Why
honest.
not?
You're
I'm
so
such
dang
an honest guy. Just yeah.
What was the last piece of art that moved you?
Oh my Lord. Well, I've been crying so much on planes. I've been watching these movies, and I don't know, they hit so hard on a plane.
Wow.
I just watched Jojo Rabbit again. That like moved me so much. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's like I just get so cynical, but like when I watch those movies, there's something so simple about these human emotions. And so that moved me. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, Truth or Daredevil?
Truth. These are great. These truth
These
questions are great.
I know, that one kind of...
Deep, very deep.
What was your first acting job?
Oh, first one was Buster Brown Shoes was my first commercial. And then my first...
What did you have to do in the commercial? What was it?
I'm stepping in my spinners, my Buster Brown spinners.
Amazing.
My good time knockaround shoes. Yeah, and that was some nice cash. Got some cash there.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and then Mystic Pizza was my first movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Which is such a good movie. It's so good.
Truth or Daredevil?
I'll do Daredevil.
You gotta shake it up, right?
Yeah.
You gotta shake it up. All right. Yearbook Superlative Edition. Most likely to turn the set into workout equipment.
Man, okay, let me think about this. Because Charlie would always like, you'd like be in hair and makeup and he'd come in and like have his like band or whatever. And then Vincent started doing it. But the person that would turn the set into a workout, Deborah?
Wilson?
Oh, Wilson. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I see
Okay.
that. I see
Okay.
him. I mean, he's like so ripped and like just handsome.
I mean,
like
everybody
he's
is
working
on this
out
show, damn it.
always. Okay.
Truth.
Truth.
Yeah.
If you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Maybe Antarctica?
Whoa, cool.
Straight up.
Wow, okay. Go for
Okay,
it.
I think because some of the just to be in those kinds of extremes and some of the birds that are there.
Right.
Okay.
What birds
right?
are in Antarctica? So we got penguins.
Penguins?
Yeah.
I'm wondering what kind of seabirds are there. I don't know
right.
how far. I should do some. I
Yeah.
need to do a little bit of
Do
ornithology
some
on
research.
this. Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Truth or dare?
I'll do truth.
Okay. Yeah. Favorite bird, and you can only pick one.
No way.
What's it gonna be?
I mean, I really love a white duck. Like, those ducks they're just white?
I don't know.
Yeah, like it's basically like
Wait, like just like
a duck. A duck.
you're
yeah.
talking straight up domesticated, almost.
Yeah, white.
Like a Peking duck, a duck you might eat. Just the straight
Maybe
up white.
I wouldn't eat him.
Okay,
I would
right.
hang out with him. You know, I would have him run around the house.
You're talking about the duck that like has the yellow or orange bill.
yellow orange bill, but they have a white body. I
love it.
those guys.
Classic.
Yeah, I would love
you
one
went
of those.
straight up classic.
Well, I thought about I've always said I kind of want like that duck and like carry him around, like bring him to
Babe,
like a
you
restaurant, bring him to but like in New York, and everyone says they smell bad, and then but I was like,
you thought about it? You found out? That,
yeah. I thought about like, can I have a duck in my apartment?
You should go for it,
I know, and just like carry around a little duck. Could you imagine a duck running around here
I
right
just
now?
love. Have you thought about that with any other creatures or any other? Because that's
other
very
creatures.
unusual.
I know. Well, I kind of liked the uniqueness of the white duck, and you can bring him to like who's gonna bring a duck to a bar? Like
You.
me. That's what I'm
You.
saying.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
honey! And it's so genuine.
Yeah.
It's not like you're like this would be really cool.
No. It would be so
It's so
sweet,
genuine
and
and
like
it's
they
so-
like run around, and I've seen like they're just so cute, and like my friend lives upstate, and she's got like a bunch of ducks, and
Well, you must hang with them
I
then,
do.
right?
I love them. Yeah,
Oh,
they're quite fun.
Oh, darling. I
Yeah.
mean, well, I'm upstate too, and I've got
Okay.
a guy with some birds at the end of my driveway. I'm gonna ask him.
Yeah.
He did have a duck.
Really?
There was a duck.
Oh my
Wait
God,
a minute.
look at
Something's
this.
going on with that. I
Yeah.
got to remember. I can't remember completely, but there was some story. But you know, Michael, I'm going to see what's going on there, and I'm going to bring you up.
I want a
And I'm
duck.
going to just say, you just go.
Yeah.
Hang
I'll
out
take
with the duck.
such good care of the duck.
Wow,
It'd
I
be
love
so
that.
fun. So
yeah,
that's
you're so great.
That's my animal, my bird. Okay, truth or
okay,
daredevil?
truth.
Truth.
Yes.
Truth. We're talking truth. Who did you wish you shared more scenes with?
He's sitting right here.
Exactly,
He's sitting right here.
exactly.
Because
Exactly.
I mean, I loved all the actors on Daredevil. I mean, it happens to be it's a great cast. I love working with actors when you know that you can go anywhere with them.
Right.
If I went there, you would go there with me.
Totally.
And we'd go there and we don't know where, and like open to everything.
Totally.
So I would
So
love
fun.
to, you.
That was so much fun.
Michael.
And I just feel so grateful. I'm just such an admirer of you and your work. And so
I
this
dig
is
you.
amazing.
Yeah, you're great.
What is following his orders gonna do for you? How long till you're on the floor with a gun pointed at your head?
Okay. Can we go?
Okay,
Can we go?
we're off.
Sana Moneth here, executive producer of Marvel, with Arty Froushan. We're so lucky to have Arty, our buck.
Yeah,
Thanks for
here I
being
am
here,
reporting
dude.
for duty. You're very welcome. It's lovely to revisit this season. It's been kind of playing on my mind in the months since we shot it, and I'm just so excited that it's finally getting airtime. And I had so
Yeah.
much fun this season. I mean, as
How
I'm
has
sure
it been
you know.
playing in your mind? What have you been thinking about the season?
Well, I mean, it's been a kind of like moving. There's been moving parts, even in
Yeah.
retrospect, as I'm sure we'll get on to talking about. One of the climactic moments for Buck in this season is, I guess we might as well get onto it straight off. Is in this episode where he ends up shooting Daniel in the head, and
Yeah.
just so many amazing scenes that I was kind of fascinated to know as how they'll turn out. Might have this intense scene with Margarita in 206 and just lots of new sides of Buck, and I was just intrigued to see how they would come out.
I remember when you came up to me or you came up to Dara and you're like, so Buck is supposed to be really a killer. He's not really killing anyone.
Yeah, that was a sort of glaring omission into he's this gun-toting assassin, but like in season 1, he like goes to try and kill Daredevil, like is too late, misses that. And then like I feel like there's another example of him like nearly killing someone and not, and it's like, well, this guy's looking less and less dangerous.
Yeah. But I feel like, I will say, and I want to know what you think about it, but I feel like he's pretty dangerous and like in a very subtle way this season that I was really happy. And I have to say, give you your flowers, Arty, because I think that Buck this season is very cool. Like you did, like truly, like obviously you look good with your suit and everything, but there's something very. I mean, obviously I'm going back to a previous episode when Buck kills the sailor. Amazing scene, and obviously you spoke in Greek and you apologized to him and you felt there was a sadness to Buck. I'm just curious to know, like, you coming into this season, what was different for you? Because I felt it was different. I was so much more invested, and I think it was what you brought to it. So I'm curious to hear what you brought to it.
I mean, it's one of the luxuries of doing a second season and having some foundations to build on. I feel like the first season, there were glimpses. You saw the kind of tip of Buck's iceberg, if we can put it like that. But yeah, it was the kind of perfect harmony of me knowing the character on a deeper level, having spent time in his skin, but also the writing and the story really meeting me halfway with that. And I'm playing Patrick Bateman at the moment, on stage. He's a guy who's famously a sort of psychopathic killer. He lacks empathy. Yeah. He has this kind of reptilian demeanor, but I think, as I'm finding with playing in a character who's on stage for 3 hours straight, if there isn't some vulnerability or maybe sadness or melancholy or something, if there isn't something that kind of pulls against the killer, or like some sense of guilt or something, then it becomes more one-dimensional. It becomes less interesting, and I thought there was such a wonderful opportunity to balance Buck's kind of ice cold competence and precision as a killer. Yeah, it was just a lovely opportunity to show some depth. And I think also being the familiarity and the bonds that I created with Margarita, with Michael, with Vincent, we shot that first season over about a year in total, and so these people became friends. I felt much safer on set. I felt much calmer and more composed. I kind of knew who I was and who Buck was in relation to the amazing ensemble around me.
I mean, what is your relationship like with Michael Gandolfini, and what was like that on set for you?
How long have you got? I mean, Michael's a special guy. We cracked each other up on the first read through back in, what was it, March 2023. We had each other in stitches after meeting each other for about sort of 5 minutes. So he's an incredibly playful guy. He's got great actor's instincts. He's just a phenomenal actor, both comedically, but he also has such depth and fragility to him, which makes Daniel such a compelling character. He's so present, and he's just up for it. He's just got this kind of eagerness to play, to experiment. And so he has this fun, this joy he brings to the work, but also a seriousness. And I really I feel those things are what motivate me as an actor as well. So we just had this wonderful kind of synergy, both as people. We're really good friends off screen, and we hang out and keep in touch, and whether that's in London or New York, but having these lovely meaty scenes and kind of like a through line, like a whole storyline with him this season was just like, it was amazing. So fun.
It was really great. I have to say, this season was so special. Like you said, I felt the connection that everyone had, that the cast had, and especially with you and Michael and Janaea. And I felt like Vincent would really light up when all of you were on set together. Like he genuinely became more. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough thing. He's, one of our leads, and it's a lot to put on his shoulders, and he was stressed sometimes, but then you guys would walk on set and he'd be like, oh, okay. Like it became a little softy, which was really, really sweet.
Yeah, I mean that's Vincent to a T. I mean, he's softy at heart, and he led us as a kind of ensemble of actors so well. He was a sort of a shepherd for us, but so I'm very grateful to him, and obviously learned so much from watching him work. He's like eccentric and kind of brilliant, like in the moment stuff that he comes up with is just so great. But no, those bonds were really there. I mean, I'm sure this happens on most long-running TV shows, but I know it was only the second season, but all of the different iterations and phases of making season 1 and then season 2, it meant that we really kind of fused together. And those guys are my like real friends now.
It made the end of 207 really challenging because but also maybe more impactful because the bonds were there.
I think Buck has this, despite himself, he builds this affection for Daniel. I think Margarita's character asks Buck in, what is it, at the dinner party in episode 2 or 3, the banquet, and says you're fond of him, aren't you, or he's growing on you, and Buck kind of reluctantly acknowledges that is true.
Like Daniel, for instance.
The jester.
At first glance, but is there more than meets the eye? An air unapparent.
You like him, don't you?
He's grown on me.
Yeah, I think he sees him as a protege of sorts, maybe, or he's sort of useful and like a puppet to Buck, and someone he has to keep in check, like a little brother, like he has a sort of annoying kind of little brother energy. But I think he wants to help Daniel stay alive, and obviously he's the one who ends up ending his life. But I think, it's not straightforward. He's really conflicted. He's torn between duty and conscience. I think that's what makes Buck's journey this season so interesting, is that particular tension.
I love the moments where Daniel would be like, or Buck would be like, so are you familiar with the barium pill or whatever? And he's like, yeah, it's like a meal plan or whatever.
That was an incredible moment. Yeah, he was so good at undercutting Buck's kind of seriousness. Yeah, there were a couple of moments like that.
And you stayed straight both, and there's the Hellman one too, and he's like,
the Hellman, what, the mayonnaise? No, Buck, no, Daniel.
When you were reading about my past, did you see anything about Helmand?
The mayonnaise?
No, Daniel, not the mayonnaise. Afghanistan.
It was only Michael could pull. Like, I genuinely believe, I feel like the two of you together were so good because it was so classically Michael.
Yeah, no, he's got such a sense of comic timing, and he knew the character so well. So it was just, we could really go anywhere. We could have improvised those scenes. It would have been interesting and kind of compelling.
Totally. Do you? So tell me about like 207.
We shot the episode, that scene on I remember it was like a swelteringly hot night in I think late June, and we were in this kind of big, slightly warehousey building in Williamsburg, and I mean, I was drenched in sweat all night. I had to get new shirts changed, it was like a real heat wave, and obviously, Michael was covered in like fake blood for most of it, and we were also doing this like full-on fight choreography. I mean, I was strangling him, choking him, kicking him down onto the couch, like beating the living hell out of this poor kid, and we did that obviously, as you do with when you film something. We did it like probably 12, 13, 14 times from different angles, and it was an exhausting night, but it was like such an amazing kind of climax, because I'd heard that he was somehow going to meet a sort of his demise, but I didn't realize that was how it would happen. And so and then I mean it makes Buck more of a villain, but I think what's cool is that you can still see how conflicted he is. Even though he does kill him, he doesn't do it gleefully, he doesn't do it willingly, and so the tension is still there.
We needed the stakes to actually have edges, and I think we were playing it too safe, and especially considering what Daniel does. He does save BB. The fact that Buck is a dangerous character who is going to do what he needs to do. Those ends made sense. It made sense for Buck to need to kill him. It made sense for Daniel to do this almost heroic sacrifice. We're talking about how the souls of the city are affected by these two big characters in Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk. And they've either tainted them or they've attempted to help them find the light. And I think in this case, you get a little bit of both in this scene. And I think there was a lot more weight. It was the only place for Michael's character to go if you actually think about it.
And it is shocking, even though Buck's job is to kill people. You don't see that coming.
We needed him to kill some more people. I mean, you were.
Hey, I shot those two big henchmen in.
You did. You shot the henchman. That was great in episode 4.
They didn't stand. They were toast.
They
were
stand,
toast. They were toast.
They
Bang,
were
bang.
toast in like a second. It's a cool shot. You haven't seen
The
that
number
episode.
of times I practiced with a fake gun in my kitchen during just like spinning it out, be like.
Like again, like so many different sides to Buck in a very elegant way. I will say, like there was the darkness, there's that sense of affection that he has, and how Buck carries that is going to be really interesting, I think, to see moving forward.
Okay, last question then. This is without giving away any spoilers. What are you looking forward to most in the season finale, which is coming up?
Oh yes, season finale is coming up.
How do you do that without giving spoilers? Actually, I don't know. Up to you.
I know. I actually have no idea. I can tell you based on like the cut that I've seen that it is it's a very unexpected conclusion. And everybody knows we're doing season 3. That is very much out in the world. But season 3 is going to make, I guess I can say a hard left. I don't know. It's hard. But I mean, you know what happens at the end of the episode. So it certainly is going to be very surprising. And I think people, once they know what happens at the end of episode 8, are going to be very excited or terrified, or maybe both. I think maybe both. So
always both.
Yeah, always both.
Is it Daredevil if you're not constantly, terrified and or stimulated beyond belief?
That's so true. There's always a bit of fear you need to have with the man.
Absolutely. Apart from the man without fear.
Exactly. But no, it's been episode 8. There's actually a really great couple of scenes at the very end that I think are going to be iconic. So hopefully everyone is going to think so too. Well, Arty, so awesome seeing you finally after so many months.
It's a pleasure just to see you and to speak to you. And I'm very happy for you and everyone involved in like making what I think is like a really killer season of TV. I mean, it's really cool. So congrats.
Thank you. It was so good to see you.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Watch and listen to Daredevil Born Again official podcast, available on Disney Plus and wherever you get your podcasts, and stream season 2 of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again on Disney Plus.